Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. Listen real close now. You are not just any woman. You are God's chosen woman, handpicked, divinely sculpted, and molded for a higher purpose. You don't just walk through life like everybody else. No, you move differently. You speak with wisdom. You act with discernment. And when it comes to a man, oh, you better believe that there are some things you just don't reveal. See, some women think they have to lay everything on the table. They think vulnerability means giving away every detail. But let me tell you something. Real power is in what you withhold. There are three things, three sacred, untouchable, God-ordained things that no chosen woman should ever reveal to a man too soon. The first one, your deepest weaknesses. Because, hear me out, not every man is built to handle them. A man who hasn't been sent by God will see your weakness and use it against you. He'll twist your fears, manipulate your emotions, and break you down until you forget the very strength God placed inside of you. No. A chosen woman protects herself. She takes her battles to God first because she knows that He is her rock, her refuge, her strong tower. The second thing, your God-given vision. Not every man needs to know where you're going. Because some men, they'll smile in your face, nod their heads, and behind closed doors, they'll pray against you. They'll plant seeds of doubt, make you question yourself, tell you that your dreams are too big, too impossible. But God didn't give them the vision. He gave it to you. So you move in silence. You let the results speak, not your words. And finally, listen to me now. The third thing, the full extent of your love. Because a man who has not earned your heart does not deserve to hold it. A chosen woman loves deeply, but she does not beg. She does not chase. She does not prove her worth to a man who cannot see it. She knows that her love is a gift, not a transaction. She gives it to the one who has shown himself worthy, the one who leads with God, the one who honors her spirit before he touches her body. See, you have sheer power lies in her silence. She knows with grace. Then there's a difference between a woman and chosen woman. A chosen woman walks in wisdom. She knows that her greatest power lies in her silence. Her chosen woman walks in wisdom. She knows that her greatest power lies in her silence. So, when a man steps into your life, don't be so quick to reveal everything. Let him earn the right to see your heart. Because a real man, a God-sent man, won't need to be convinced of your worth. He'll already know. And that, my sister, is the power of being God's chosen woman. Before the foundations of the earth were laid, God had a plan. He carefully crafted certain individuals, set them apart, and anointed them for a purpose far beyond what the human eye can see. A woman chosen by God is not ordinary. She carries a divine assignment that cannot be duplicated. And with that assignment comes responsibility, wisdom, and protection. She is not like everyone else because she has been selected for something greater. Her path is different, her burdens are heavier, and her victories are designed to glorify the one who called her. God's selection is intentional. He does not choose randomly, nor does he make mistakes. When he places his hand upon a woman, he equips her with the strength, grace, and discernment to walk in her purpose. She may not always understand why she feels different, why her journey is filled with trials that others don't seem to face, or why certain relationships fail before they even begin. But divine selection comes with divine separation. Not everyone can go where she is going. Not everyone is meant to understand the weight of her calling. There is a difference between being chosen and simply existing. A chosen woman moves with purpose, even when she does not have all the answers. She carries a presence that shifts atmospheres, a wisdom that speaks without words, and a spirit that cannot be easily broken. She knows that her life is not her own, that every step she takes has been orchestrated by God, and that his favor does not always look like comfort. She may walk alone at times, misunderstood and even doubted, but a chosen woman does not seek validation from the world. She knows who she is because she knows who she is. There is something undeniably powerful about a woman who does not reveal everything about herself too quickly. She moves with a quiet confidence, an air of grace that leaves others wondering, intrigued, and drawn to her without fully understanding why. Mystery is not deception. It is wisdom in action. It is knowing what to say and when to say it, what to share and what to guard, when to reveal and when to remain silent. A woman who understands the power of mystery does not live for attention, nor does she feel the need to explain herself to those who have not earned the right to know her depths. God has designed certain aspects of a woman's life to be hidden, reserved for the right time and the right person. There is a reason why the most sacred things in life are not exposed to just anyone. The holiest places, the deepest truths, and the most profound revelations are often veiled, kept from those who are not ready to receive them. A woman who reveals too much too soon risks diminishing the value of what makes her unique. Not every thought needs to be spoken, not every emotion needs to be displayed, and not every struggle needs to be announced. The world often pressures women to be an open book, to prove themselves through words, to lay their hearts bare in the name of authenticity. But true power lies in discretion. A woman of mystery operates from a place of self-assurance, knowing that her value is not determined by how much she shares, but by the wisdom in her restraint. She understands that those who are meant to truly know her will do so, not because she demands to be seen, but because her presence speaks for itself. Spiritual strength is not something that can be measured by physical endurance or outward appearance. It is an internal force, a deep and unshakable foundation that allows a woman to stand firm no matter what storms come her way. It is the ability to trust God when everything around her is falling apart, to hold on to faith when the world gives her every reason to let go, and to walk with confidence even when she does not yet see the full picture. A woman with spiritual strength does not crumble under pressure because she is rooted in something greater than herself. This kind of strength is not built overnight. It is forged in the quiet moments of prayer, in the tears that fall when no one is watching, in the battles fought on her knees. It grows when she chooses to worship instead of worry, when she surrenders her fears instead of carrying them, and when she allows God's word to be her foundation instead of the opinions of others. The world teaches women that strength is about never showing weakness, but spiritual strength is the opposite. It is about knowing when to be still, when to seek God's guidance, and when to trust that He is fighting battles she cannot see. A spiritually strong woman does not allow circumstances to dictate her peace. She understands that her strength does not come from herself, but from the one who created her. She may feel weary at times, she may have moments of doubt, but she never stays there. She rises again and again because she knows that her strength is not her own. It is a divine gift, a power that cannot be taken away, and a force that makes her unshakable in a world full of uncertainty. Personal weaknesses are a reality that every woman carries, Yet wisdom dictates that not all weaknesses should be exposed to everyone, especially not to a man who has not proven himself worthy of such knowledge. Vulnerability is a beautiful thing when placed in the right hands, but when shared too soon or with the wrong person, it can become a weapon used against the very heart that revealed it. A woman must understand that her struggles, fears, and insecurities are sacred matters that should first be taken to God before they are ever entrusted to another. There is power in discernment, in knowing who deserves access to the most delicate parts of one's soul. A woman who openly speaks of every fear, every past failure, and every internal battle without wisdom may unknowingly invite manipulation, judgment, or even ridicule. Not every man is equipped to handle what she carries, and not every heart is pure in its intentions. A man who truly loves, respects, and values her will seek to understand her at the right time, with patience and with honor. But a man who is not led by God may use her weaknesses to control, belittle, or take advantage of her. The growth comes from recognizing that not every thought needs to be spoken, and not every struggle needs to be shared outside of prayer. A strong woman understands that acknowledging weakness does not mean being reckless with it. She surrounds herself with wise counsel, with those who uplift rather than tear down, and she places her trust in God above all else. When the time is right, when trust is established, and when God gives peace, then and only then should the depths of her heart be shared. Until then, her weaknesses remain between her and the one who strengthens her. Deepest insecurities are some of the most fragile parts of a woman's soul, shaped by past experiences, childhood wounds, and moments of rejection that may still echo in her heart. These insecurities are not meant to be openly handed to just anyone, because not everyone will handle them with care. The wrong person can turn them into tools of manipulation, using them to gain control rather than to offer reassurance. A woman must understand that her insecurities are not a sign of weakness, but a place where God's grace is working, refining, and strengthening her in ways she may not even see. A man who is not sent by God may not see these insecurities as something to protect, but as something to exploit. He may use her fears against her, feeding into them instead of helping her heal. This is why a woman must guard her heart, ensuring that the person she opens up to has the spiritual maturity and emotional depth to cover her rather than expose her. There is a difference between vulnerability that builds intimacy and vulnerability that invites destruction. Not everyone who listens truly cares, and not everyone who asks is worthy of an answer. Healing does not come from exposing insecurities to someone in hopes that they will fix them. Healing comes from surrendering those insecurities to God, allowing Him to do the inner work before sharing them with another. A woman must first find security in God's love, knowing that she is enough as she is. When she fully grasps her worth, she will not seek validation from a man, but will instead walk with the confidence that the one meant for her will see her, flaws and all, and love her with the same grace that God has already given. Faded visions are sacred revelations, whispers from God that guide a woman toward her purpose. They are not meant to be shared with just anyone, especially not prematurely. A woman who has been given a vision for her life must understand that it is fragile in its early stages, requiring protection, prayer, and discernment. Speaking too soon can invite unnecessary doubt, opposition, and even sabotage from those who do not see what she sees. Not everyone will understand the path God has laid before her, and not everyone will celebrate the greatness He is calling her into. There are people who, out of jealousy, fear, or misunderstanding, will attempt to discourage her. They may plant seeds of doubt, telling her that her dreams are too big, too unrealistic, or beyond her capability. A woman who lacks discernment may absorb these doubts, allowing them to shake her confidence and delay the very thing God has placed in her heart. But a woman who moves with wisdom understands that timing is everything. She knows that vision must be nurtured in silence, cultivated in faith, and protected until the right moment comes for it to be revealed. A man who is not meant for her may also try to redirect her vision, molding it to fit his own plans rather than supporting what God has given her. If she is not careful, she may find herself compromising, shrinking, or even abandoning her calling to fit into someone else's idea of what her life should be. A woman who is chosen knows that her future is not up for negotiation. She walks boldly in her calling, trusting that the right people will align with her journey, not hinder it. She moves with quiet confidence, understanding that what God has promised will come to pass in His perfect time. God's instructions to a woman are deeply personal, often given in moments of stillness, prayer, and divine intimacy. They are not meant to be broadcasted to everyone, nor should they be shared carelessly, especially with a man who has not been confirmed by God. When God speaks, He does so with purpose, revealing things that are meant to guide, strengthen, and prepare a woman for what lies ahead. These instructions are sacred, requiring obedience, patience, and discretion. Not everyone will understand what God has placed in her heart. If she shares too soon, she may encounter resistance, criticism, or even manipulation from those who do not have the spiritual capacity to grasp what God is doing in her life. There are times when even those closest to her will question her path, not because they mean harm, but because they cannot see the full picture. A woman must trust that when God gives an instruction, He also provides the wisdom to walk it out. It is not her job to convince others of what God has told her. It is her job to follow His voice without hesitation. A man who does not share her faith or spiritual maturity may try to lead her in a different direction, causing her to second-guess what she knows God has spoken. He may suggest an easier route, one that seems more logical or comfortable, but divine instructions are not always meant to make sense to the world. A woman who understands this will guard what God tells her, taking it to prayer instead of public discussion. She knows that when the time is right, the results of her obedience will speak louder than any explanation she could give. She walks in faith, knowing that God's words over her life are enough. Family secrets are deeply woven into the fabric of a woman's identity, carrying both the weight of history and the lessons of the past. They are not meant to be exposed carelessly, especially to a man who has not proven himself trustworthy. Every family has its struggles, its private wounds, and its unspoken battles. Some of these are meant to remain within the family, protected from outside judgment and misunderstanding. A woman who understands the value of discretion knows that certain things must be handled with wisdom, not emotion. A man who is not spiritually mature may misinterpret family struggles, using them as a reason to question her worth or stability. He may take what he hears and use it against her, either to manipulate her emotions or to cast doubt on her background. There are also those who simply do not understand the complexities of family dynamics and, in their ignorance, offer opinions or advice that are neither helpful nor needed. A wise woman knows that some matters must be taken to God in prayer, rather than laid bare for others to analyze. There is also power in breaking generational cycles without exposing them prematurely. A woman called by God may be in the process of overcoming patterns, healing from past wounds, and creating a new foundation for her future. Not every man needs to know every detail of what she is breaking free from. True transformation does not come from sharing pain with just anyone, but from seeking wisdom, healing, and allowing God to restore what is broken. The right man will understand in time, not because she rushed to explain, but because her life and the choices she makes will reflect the strength of someone who has risen above the past without allowing it to define her. Financial details are one of the most sensitive and personal aspects of a woman's life, carrying both her past decisions and her future security. They are not something to be shared lightly, especially with a man who has not demonstrated trustworthiness, commitment, and financial responsibility himself. Money has the power to build or destroy relationships, and a woman who is chosen by God must understand that financial discretion is not just wisdom, but protection. A woman who openly discloses her income, savings, investments, or financial struggles too soon may unintentionally invite exploitation or judgment. A man who is not truly invested in her heart may see her finances as an opportunity rather than a responsibility. If she is financially stable, he may develop expectations of what she should provide, shifting the dynamic of the relationship in an unhealthy way. If she is struggling, he may judge her, question her ability to manage resources, or use her vulnerability against her. There is also a spiritual aspect to financial stewardship. God calls his people to be wise with their resources, to plan for the future, and to be discerning about who has access to what they have built. A woman must be cautious in revealing too much too soon, understanding that finances are not just about numbers, but about values, priorities, and long-term stability. The right man will not be drawn to her based on what she has or lacks, but will see her worth beyond material things. Until a relationship reaches a stage of true partnership, financial matters should be kept private, prayed over, and handled with the wisdom that comes from knowing that security is not in wealth itself, but in how well it is guarded and managed under God's direction. Past mistakes are part of every woman's journey, shaping her growth, refining her character, and deepening her wisdom. However, they are not meant to be freely handed to just anyone, especially not to a man who has not proven himself capable of handling her truth with grace and maturity. Mistakes, failures, and regrets are personal lessons, not public confessions, and a woman must be discerning about who is worthy of knowing the depths of her past. Not every man has the heart to hear about where she has been without judging her for it. Some will use her mistakes against her, subtly making her feel unworthy or undeserving of love, while others may bring them up in moments of conflict, turning her vulnerability into a weapon. A woman who understands her value knows that her past does not define her, and she does not owe explanations to anyone who has not shown the character and commitment to walk beside her without condemnation. Healing from past mistakes is a journey between a woman and God. Before she ever shares her history with someone else, she must first make peace with it herself. If shame or regret still lingers, it is a sign that more healing is needed in private, rather than seeking validation or understanding from another person. When the right time comes and the right man stands before her, he will not see her through the lens of her past, but through the lens of who she has become. And until then, her past remains a testimony of God's grace, something to be shared with wisdom, not desperation, and only with someone who sees her for who she is now, not who she once was. Your next move is one of the most critical aspects of your journey, a step that requires strategy, wisdom, and divine direction. It is not something to be discussed with just anyone, especially not with a man who has not yet proven himself to be aligned with your purpose. There is power in silence, in keeping your plans between you and God until the time is right for them to unfold. Speaking too soon can invite unnecessary opinions, doubt, and even sabotage from those who do not see what God has placed in your heart. Not everyone will understand the vision for your life, and not everyone is meant to. When you share your next move prematurely, you risk exposing it to the wrong energy, to people who may not believe in you or who may project their fears onto your dreams. A woman who is chosen must move differently. She must guard her plans as carefully as she guards her heart, knowing that not every open ear has good intentions. Some will discourage her simply because they do not have the faith to believe in things they cannot yet see. A man who is not meant for you may also try to influence your decisions, steering you toward a path that serves his own interests rather than supporting what God has called you to do. If you are not careful, you may find yourself compromising, adjusting, or delaying your purpose to accommodate someone who was never supposed to be part of your journey. The right decisions are made in prayer, in stillness, and in confidence, not in the presence of those who have yet to prove their loyalty or alignment with your destiny. Move wisely, stay focused, and trust that God will reveal the right time and the right people when necessary. Prayer life is one of the most intimate aspects of a woman's spiritual journey, a sacred connection between her and God that should not be exposed to just anyone. It is in these moments of deep conversation with God that she receives guidance, strength, and revelation. Her prayers carry her burdens, her desires, and her deepest cries, and not everyone is meant to hear or have access to what she brings before the Lord. Some things are meant to be kept between her and God until He chooses to reveal them in His own way. A woman who understands the power of her prayer life knows that it is not something to be put on display or shared lightly, especially with a man who has not yet proven himself spiritually aligned. Some may not respect the sanctity of her prayers, while others may attempt to manipulate them, using her vulnerabilities to their advantage. There are those who may even try to weaken her faith by questioning the things she prays for, planting seeds of doubt where there should be unwavering trust in God's promises. Prayer is not just about words. It is a spiritual weapon, a source of divine strength that protects, heals, and guides. When a woman shares too much about her prayers, what she is seeking, what she is battling, or what God has revealed, she risks exposing herself to those who may not have her best interests at heart. True spiritual growth happens in private, in the quiet moments where God refines her, prepares her, and strengthens her for what is to come. A wise woman understands that her prayer life is a personal sanctuary, a place of divine intimacy, and she guards it with the reverence and discretion it deserves. Hidden battles are the silent struggles a woman faces, the unseen fights in her mind, heart, and spirit that only God truly understands. These battles are not meant to be shared with just anyone, especially not with a man who has not earned the right to stand beside her in times of hardship. Some struggles are personal, requiring solitude, prayer, and inner strength rather than outside validation. When a woman reveals her battles to the wrong person, she risks being misunderstood, judged, or even manipulated. Not everyone has the capacity to handle the depth of what she carries. There are battles that shape her character, battles that test her faith, and battles that push her toward her divine purpose. These are not for public display, nor should they be used as a way to seek sympathy or approval. A strong woman knows that not everyone who listens genuinely cares, and not everyone who asks has good intentions. Some will use her struggles against her, turning her moments of weakness into future weapons of control or criticism. Others may not understand the weight she carries and will offer advice that is rooted in their own fears rather than in faith. A woman who is chosen by God must learn the power of discretion. Her hidden battles are not meant to be discussed with just anyone. They are meant to be fought in prayer, in silence, and with the full assurance that victory comes from God alone. She does not need the world to see her struggle, to know that she is strong. She does not need external validation to confirm that she is overcoming. A true warrior does not announce every battle she is fighting. She simply fights, knowing that the God who sees in secret will reward her openly in due time. True strength is not loud, boastful, or easily seen by the world. It is quiet resilience, the ability to stand firm in faith even when everything around seems uncertain. A woman's true strength is not measured by how much she can endure in front of others, but by how she holds herself together in the moments no one sees. It is found in the way she rises after setbacks, in the way she prays when no one is listening, and in the way she refuses to let fear or doubt dictate her future. Strength is not just about surviving. It is about overcoming with grace, wisdom, and unwavering trust in God's plan. And a truly strong woman does not seek validation from the world to confirm what she already knows within. She does not feel the need to prove herself to a man or to anyone else, because her strength is rooted in something deeper than external approval. It comes from years of battles fought in silence, from lessons learned through trials, and from a faith that has been tested and refined. She does not break under pressure, nor does she allow temporary challenges to shake her identity. She knows who she is, and more importantly, she knows whose she is. There are those who mistake strength for hardness, believing that to be strong means to never show vulnerability. But true strength is not about hiding emotions or pretending to be unbreakable. It is about knowing when to stand firm and when to surrender to God's will. A woman's strength is in her wisdom, her patience, and her ability to remain grounded, even when life throws storms her way. She does not announce her power, she walks in it, allowing her actions, faith, and presence to speak for themselves. How much you love him is a depth only known to you and God. It is not measured by grand gestures or public displays, but by the quiet ways you support, honor, and uplift him. Love is not always about the words you speak, but the actions that speak louder. It is found in the sacrifices you make, the grace you extend, and the respect you give, even when things are not perfect. True love is steady, not swayed by the ups and downs of life, but grounded in a deep commitment to stand by each other, no matter what. Loving him is not about losing yourself or becoming someone you are not. It is about growing together and nurturing the bond that God has placed between you. It means honoring his strengths and accepting his flaws, knowing that love does not require perfection. When you love him deeply, you see beyond the surface and choose to embrace him with all that he is, both the light and the shadows. You do not demand change, but you lovingly encourage growth, just as you hope for the same in return. Your love for him is not based on what he can give you, but on what you can give him: peace, comfort, understanding, and partnership. It is about being a constant support, offering encouragement when life feels overwhelming, and sharing joy in the moments of triumph. True love is not always easy. It requires patience, forgiveness, and the ability to navigate challenges together. It is a journey, not a destination, and each day is an opportunity to show how much you love him through the little things, through kindness, respect, and the unwavering decision to choose him every day. Your standards are not just preferences. They are reflections of your self-worth, your values, and the vision God has given you for your life. They are not something to be compromised for the sake of pleasing others, nor should they be adjusted to fit someone who refuses to rise to them. A woman who understands her worth does not lower her standards to accommodate a man. She stands firm, knowing that the right man will meet them without hesitation. Non-negotiable standards are not about arrogance or unrealistic expectations. They are about self-respect. They are about protecting your heart, your time, and your future from those who do not align with the purpose God has placed in you. When you compromise on what truly matters, you begin to lose pieces of yourself, settling for something less than what you deserve. A man who truly values you will never ask you to lower your standards. He will recognize them as a reflection of the kind of woman you are and will step up to meet them. Having non-negotiable standards means understanding that love should never require you to betray yourself. It means walking away from situations that do not serve your growth, refusing to entertain half-hearted efforts, and expecting consistency, honesty, and respect. It means knowing that waiting for the right person is better than settling for the wrong one. The world may tell you that your standards are too high, but a woman of faith knows that what God has for her will never require her to accept less than his best. A man who is truly meant for you will not only respect your standards, he will appreciate them, because he will have his own. Your faith walk is deeply personal, a journey that is uniquely yours and shaped by your experiences, trials, and relationship with God. It is not something that requires the approval or validation of others, nor should it be shared indiscriminately with those who may not understand its depth. Faith is not just about belief. It is about trust, obedience, and the intimate moments where God reveals himself in ways that only you can truly comprehend. No one else can walk this path for you, and not everyone is meant to know the details of your spiritual journey. A woman's faith is often tested in private, in the unseen battles that refine her character and strengthen her spirit. There will be moments of deep prayer, silent struggles, and personal revelations that do not need to be explained to anyone else. A man who does not share your spiritual alignment may try to challenge or weaken your convictions, not always out of malice, but simply because he does not understand what God has placed in your heart. Your faith is not up for debate, and it is not something that should be compromised for the sake of fitting into someone else's expectations. Faith is also a source of power. When you are rooted in God, you move differently, speak differently, and carry yourself with a confidence that comes from knowing who holds your future. Not everyone will understand the decisions you make based on your faith, and that is okay. What God reveals to you is for you, and it is not necessary for everyone to agree with your path. A woman who is chosen knows that her faith is her foundation, and she guards it fiercely, allowing God to lead her steps without needing external approval or permission. Not every man deserves access to a woman's heart, mind, or spirit. Access is a privilege, not a right, and a woman must be discerning about who she allows into her life. A man's presence does not automatically qualify him to know her deepest thoughts, her struggles, or her dreams. True access is earned through consistency, respect, and alignment with God's purpose for her life. A woman who understands her worth knows that not every man who shows interest is meant to stay, and not every man who speaks sweet words has honorable intentions. Some men seek access for their own benefit, not to build but to take. They desire to know a woman's heart so they can manipulate it, to understand her insecurities so they can use them, and to gain her trust without the responsibility of protecting it. A woman must be wise enough to recognize that access is not granted by attraction alone, nor should it be given out of loneliness or impatience. A man who is not aligned with God's vision for her life can become a distraction, pulling her away from her purpose instead of pushing her toward it. Access should be granted only to those who show integrity, honor, and a willingness to pour into her life as much as they take from it. A man who truly values her will not rush or pressure her to open up. He will understand that trust is built over time. A woman must guard her heart, knowing that who she allows into her life will influence her emotions, decisions, and spiritual journey. The right man will not demand access. He will prove, through his actions and character, that he is worthy of it. Trust is one of the most valuable things a woman can give, and it should never be handed out carelessly. It is not something that is owed to anyone simply because of their words, charm, or presence. Trust must be built over time, through actions that align with promises, through consistency that withstands challenges, and through integrity that is proven, not just spoken. A wise woman understands that trust is a foundation, and if that foundation is weak, everything built upon it will eventually crumble. A woman who gives her trust too freely risks placing it in the hands of someone who has not earned it. Some men will say the right things but lack the character to uphold them. They will ask for trust before they have demonstrated reliability. And if a woman is not careful, she may find herself betrayed by the very person she was hoping to rely on. Trust should not be assumed. It should be tested. A man who truly values a woman will understand that trust is something he must earn, not something he can demand. True trust is developed in the small moments. The way a man keeps his word, how he reacts under pressure, how he treats others when no one is watching. It is confirmed in his ability to be honest, even when the truth is uncomfortable, and in his willingness to protect rather than exploit a woman's vulnerability. A woman must guard her trust as she would guard her heart, recognizing that once broken, it is not easily restored. The right man will understand the weight of trust and will not take it lightly. Instead, he will handle it with care, knowing that it is a gift, not a given, and one that must be continuously honored. God is the foundation of love, the source from which all other relationships flow. Before a woman can truly love anyone else, she must first understand what it means to be loved by God. His love is not conditional, not based on performance or perfection, but given freely and abundantly. It is in his love that a woman finds her identity, her worth, and her purpose. No man, no matter how devoted, can fill the space that God occupies in her heart. When she places him first, everything else in her life aligns according to his will. A woman who makes God her first love does not settle for relationships that pull her away from him. She understands that any love that contradicts his word is not love at all, but a distraction. She does not look to a man to complete her because she knows she is already whole in God. Her peace, her joy, and her sense of security are not dependent on another person's presence, but rooted in the unwavering faithfulness of the one who created her. When a woman loves God first, she does not chase love. She attracts the right love by walking in obedience to his plan. There is power in putting God first. It protects a woman from idolizing a relationship, from losing herself in someone who was never meant to be permanent, and from allowing emotions to cloud her discernment. When a man sees that God is first in her life, he will either rise to meet that standard or remove himself because he cannot compete with it. A woman who is anchored in God's love moves differently, loves differently, and chooses differently. She knows that earthly love is a gift, but divine love is the foundation that sustains her through all seasons of life. A woman chosen by God walks in wisdom, strength, and discernment. She understands that not everything about her life, her heart, and her spirit is meant to be revealed to just anyone. Some things are sacred, meant to be kept between her and God until the right time, and only shared with those who have proven themselves worthy. She does not lower her standards, compromise her values, or give her trust away freely, because she knows her worth is far greater than temporary validation. Her faith is her foundation, and she moves with confidence, knowing that God's love is the only love that truly completes her. She does not chase after approval or settle for anything less than what God has ordained for her life. She protects her heart, guards her spirit, and allows only those who honor her journey to have access to it. A woman who knows she is chosen understands that real strength is found not just in what she gives, but in what she withholds. In a world that constantly pressures women to reveal, to prove, and to compromise, she stands firm. She knows that the right man will respect what she chooses to keep sacred, and he will meet her in faith, not in desperation. Her love is valuable, her time is precious, and her future is in God's hands. She walks boldly, knowing that what is meant for her will never require her to give away pieces of